and welcome to Tikiman and the Viking podcast. And he is Tikiman.
I am H.B. Burlow, the historical crime fiction author of the Wichita Chronicles, with the most recent, The End of the Treachery. And of course, he is the Viking.
I am William Bryan Johnson, author of Hell to Pay, The Dark Cry of Ariston, and coming soon, Middle-Aged Man in a Trash Can.
But we're talking about the... Well, no, yours is coming out soon, but we're talking about the near future. We have a special guest tonight. If you have just met her, she'd be Vickey Malone Kennedy. If you've known her for a bit, she's VCK. She writes in more genres than we have time to even discuss at this point. She is the past, present, and potentially future president of OWFI, and she joins us tonight. Thanks, Vic.
The once and future queen.
Actually, I am handing over the role. We have a president, Connor O'Ryan, will be taking over for me at the conference in May of 2025. So I am not going to do it again. But yes, past president twice, current president now. And I've enjoyed every minute of it. But yes, it's time to let somebody else take over the reins for a little while.
What drew you to OWFI when you got started? What was the reason?
I belonged to Norman Galaxy of Writers because they were local. They were a local group. They were an affiliate of OWFI. We have affiliates all over the country, really. We have them in several states. So I got involved with OWFI because I was involved with Norman Galaxy of Writers. And from the moment that the first time I went to OWFI, I became a volunteer. In fact, I think I volunteered that very first year while I was there. And I've been a volunteer in some form for 25 years.
Wow.
And in fact, I've been a volunteer every year for 25 years in some position. And I've held every office except treasurer and secretary, 2 offices I don't want. I don't like money and I don't mind taking notes, but I get distracted very easily. Squirrels everywhere.
So, really?
Yeah.
And of course, when you're not volunteering, you draw in people and voluntold them. Like, for example, when I remember when I first met you, went to lunch with you and Nick Lyon and Tom Barzak. And from that moment, it was like I was just drawn into your circle and had to become a minion.
Yes. I have minions. I collect people. I draft people. If people don't volunteer, I tell them, hey, I really need you to do this for me. And so far, I've never had anybody turn me down except for Dion, who should be the one person that always agreed to do whatever I ask her to do. But she's my best friend, right-hand man, but yeah, she's the only person that ever turned me down when I asked for help.
Now, in your history as a writer and conference attendee, what do you feel separates OWFI from other conferences that you've been to?
Well, I think, for one thing, we're more writer-oriented than reader-oriented. I've been to a lot of conferences that are very strongly oriented on the readers. Because I write science fiction, I've been to a lot of science fiction conventions, and of course, they're completely different than a writing conference. But I have been to several writing conferences that were focused on the writing as well. And but I believe OWFI is a writers conference. Most of the people that attend are writers. Most of the people who show up are writers. We invite readers. We love having readers, but we cater primarily to the writers. And I think that's what makes it different.
For those that don't know, OWFI stands for Oklahoma Writers Federation, Inc. So the W was strongly geared toward that.
Right.
And the one thing I've noticed on the website is how many affiliate places you have. You have affiliates down in Texas. You have affiliates in Arkansas. How far does that go?
We have Kansas, Arkansas, Texas. I don't
Missouri?
know.
Do
We have a
it?
couple of others that are in other places, but we have about 30 affiliates groups, and about 20 of those are very active. But we have members in in all states around the country. We have members from other states that are members. They may be affiliated with one of the affiliates that we have. But we have members at large also. And those are people, a lot of times, those are people that they don't have a group near them. They don't have an affiliate group near them. So they belong as members at large. At one time, we actually had a member in Norway.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I don't know if there's still a member, but a long time ago, we had a member in Norway. But so we have a wide reach.
Now, the conferences, I've been since, with the exception of the COVID year and one other year that I was buying a house, I've been going since 2012 myself. It's structured, and yet it seems to be free flowing. I mean, there is the registration night on Thursday, usually with a master class that's offered. You have nicely set up, organized sessions on Friday and Saturday. And yet each conference has their own uniqueness to them. Now, is that based on the president or on the conference coordinator? How is it that it's the same, but it feels different every year?
Well, we sort of have a template. We know that we're going to have sessions from 9 to 5 on Friday and Saturday. We have a schedule to follow. But each president, conference coordinator chooses their own theme for the conference, and that theme carries through everything. We try to work that theme into the sessions themselves by having people that are talking about similar things, but we have a large variety also. But then we carry that theme into decorations and to parties and to the costume contest. On Friday night, we have a costume contest, and we carry that theme over into all the fun stuff. The business stuff is 9 to 5. We're working. That's work. We're having classes. We're teaching people things about writing. It's a job. But from 5 to whenever, it's party. and it's usually theme. We theme. And this year's theme, of course, is noir, 1930s, 40s noir. And I expect to see lots of private. I probably shouldn't say it. I'll say detectives instead.
Okay.
At the costume party. At the costume.
You mean things like fedoras and overcoats and,
Yep. I expect you to come as usual in your, I want you to be the detective on Friday night.
I think I can pull that off, and there probably will be some photos that we can post at a later point in time. I just have to figure out which of the fedoras to bring.
Bring them all. Bring them all. There's 3 days of events. You can wear a different one every day.
But don't forget, too, when it's not the theme, it's still the Tikiman. So there will be those shirts as well.
Oh, the loud T-shirts.
Yes. So tell us about this year's conference. Brag about it. Who's the keynote speaker? For those who haven't been on the website, tell us.
Our keynote speaker this year is Jim Butcher. If you don't know Jim, he is the author of the Dresden Files. I am a huge Dresden File fan. I'm a huge Dresden fan. So I was really excited to get him. And I got him in a very unusual way. I contacted him through Facebook.
Huh.
I talked to him through Facebook. I told him, about the conference. I asked him if he would be interested in being our keynote, and he agreed instantly. And of course, I had a little panic. Is this the real Jim Wicker? Or am I talking to somebody that's just a fan using his name? But I'm pretty sure it was the right guy because he directed me to his manager to make the arrangements. He didn't make the arrangements on Facebook.
Very
He
good.
directed me to his manager. I went to his website. That's the real manager. It better be him because we've already booked his flight. But I'm really, really excited to have him come. He's an outstanding writer. He's an outstanding person. And I think that he is going to be very popular and draw in a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. And he has so many series. Not only does he have the Dresden Files, he's got the Codex Alera, yeah, and the Cinder Spire, I think.
Yes, Cinder Spire,
which is his new steampunk series that he's writing.
Yes, he and I like those too, but I'm a serious Dresden fan. Dresden fan. I love Dresden. And
I think there's enough variety to his style, to his series, that I think his appeal is more wide ranging. I mean, there were keynote speakers in the past who have been excellent keynotes, but they were more of a limited genre, more of a limited range. I remember Les Edgerton, the late Les Edgerton, wonderful man, great humorous keynote speaker, but I mean his genre was basically crime fiction, and that was it. With Butcher, you got several genres, so there's that appeal, which always makes it interesting. How, you just talked about how easy it was to get a keynote. Now, of course, you've been president before. Was it that easy on other years?
No, actually, it wasn't. In fact, our keynote speaker last year was Inez. Well, crap! I just went
Johnson.
Yes, I just went blank on her last name. I'm sorry, Inez. And I think we got her. It was kind of like what's that football term for the last few minutes of the game?
2-minute warning.
Yes, it was like a 2-minute warning thing. We got her that night. We announced the keynote at the end of the Saturday night banquet.
Okay,
it's when we announced who's going to be our next keynote, and I think that we got her right before the banquet began.
Geez.
Oh wow!
And like minutes before the banquet began.
Oh my!
So no, it's not always that easy. I will say this too, though, about Jim. Jim is our keynote speaker for 2025. I contacted him in 2023. And so I gave myself plenty of time.
and that's what is unfathomable, is the coordination of the conference. I mean, it takes place at the Embassy Suites in Oklahoma City. You have a series of rooms available, so the logistics is fine, but the notion of getting the speakers, figuring out what their sessions are going to be on, make sure that it's diverse, coordinating the schedules so that they don't run back to back with each other. Dion, who we interviewed last year, talked about it, but she was very the conference was already going on. So when you talk to a conference coordinator while a conference is going on, there's a few last minute things, but I just cannot imagine coordinating all this. Now, do you let her run with it completely, or do you put your hand in the matter?
No, Dion kind of got voluntold to be conference coordinator. I was conference coordinator. We had a previous president that had some personal issues and had to drop out as president in the middle of the term. And I had to take over for her as conference coordinator. So I pretty much I was conference coordinator. I pretty much had most of the stuff coordinated by the time she dropped out.
Okay.
And so Dion took over. And she took over doing things that I had not done yet.
Okay.
And helping me do those things. We split the duties this year.
Okay.
She's taking care of certain things. I'm taking care of certain things. I have been in charge last year and this year of coordinating the speakers. The previous president did indeed get Inez to be the keynote, and she also got Mallory Cooper to be our masterclass speaker last year.
Mm-hmm.
I pretty much got the rest of them. There is an application form for people who are interested in speaking to fill out. And then we have to go through that application form and sort of check on credentials and kind of balance that. If we have 6 people that are in the same, write the same thing, have the same ideas for presentations, we don't want 6 people doing the same presentation. So we got to balance who we're going to use, because we can't have exactly the same thing going on. I did accidentally this year schedule 2 people talking about it almost exactly the same thing at exactly the same time. So I had to do a quick, oh, let's change that. Let's move one of them to a different time,
Wow.
How many speakers do you have this year?
We have 24. Well, we have 23 speakers, and then we have 1 agent who is not speaking.
Okay.
She's just going to take pitches. So we have 23 speakers this year, and then an extra. And I'm still looking for agents, because we actually only have 4 agents, and I would like to have more than that. We try to make sure we have enough agents that we can have people do agent, editor, publisher, one-on-one pitches.
Right.
And 4 is probably enough. I would love to have more, but
especially with the variety of agents that you've had in the past. Some are, YA, some are middle grade, some want adults, some definitely don't want poetry, and some want, so it is difficult to find the variety.
And we do have a good variety too this year. We've got agents that are covering most categories, most genres. And there are a few that, I don't want this, I don't want that. But between the 4 of them, we've got most of the genres covered.
Well, I tell you something, from Brian and I, Tikiman and the Viking, had the gracious opportunity to be on the faculty last year.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a great experience in so many fashions. The highlight, of course, was look over Brian's shoulder, middle-aged man in a trash can. He pitched that at OWFI.
I did.
And made a connection with a publisher who happens to be my publisher, the Wild Rose Press.
Wild Rose.
And I tell you something, that's the benefit. So if you're writing, if you're a writer, when people listen to this, you got to go to a conference, you got to get out there, you got to do that face-to-face thing. We did a couple of sessions on blogging and podcasting.
Yep.
And it didn't hurt that I made some baked goods to give out to the sessions, but I think the sessions themselves were beneficial, and it was great to see faces. And you go into it, I'm sure there are people out there who have been presenting at many conferences. We went into it with a good presentation. We have already been doing our podcast. We knew how to work together, but you still don't know how things are going to play out. And the biggest concern that we had is, because of a scheduling conflict, we were asked to give up our early spot on Saturday to take a late spot. And we wound up with the last session on Saturday, which is the last session of the conference. And anybody who's been to a 2-day conference, by the time you get to the end, you're burned out. Well, we brought the energy, and people did not fall asleep. And it can't, you were there last year. You were the one who brought us in, and can't thank you enough for that, because it's been a benefit to Brian. It's been a benefit to our podcast. And that's proof right there that it works.
Well, I'm so glad that you had that experience where you found a publisher through OWFI, because that's what we're really all about, is helping the writers and helping them build their career. And we've had a lot of writers that have started out because they met their publisher, they met their agent at OWFI. I actually met my agent at OWFI many, many years ago. They are no longer my agent, but I don't really have an agent right now. But I met them there. And so, yes, you do. You can meet your agent, you can meet your publisher, you can meet your next big deal right there at the conference. You can make a lot of connections, not just with agents, editors, publishers, but with other writers that may indeed help you at some future point, or you might help them at some future point. My friend Janetta has this saying that all tides rise, all ships rise with the tide. You know, I can't really remember exactly what the words are that she uses, but what rising tides lift all ships. That's it. Rising tides lift all ships. And that's the way it is in the writing community. You never know who you're going to meet that is going to help you in the future, or that you might help in the future. And you'll help each other along the way, and you'll help other people along the way. We're all about mentoring people. We want people to come in and ask us whatever they want to know, and we'll answer whatever we can. We don't always have all the answers. I try to fake it. No. But yeah, our community is there to help writers along in their career. And I'm so excited to hear people when they say, oh yeah, I found my agent at OWFI. I found my publisher at OWFI, you know.
And I do say, I think one of the greatest things is just having a community of writers there and being able to have all the side conversations, having the breakfast, having the late night drinks, having dinner with people that you typically would never meet anywhere else.
Well, I'll tell you this. It's a long running joke in the science fiction community about going to conventions. 90% of all contacts are made in the bar.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where you meet your next editor. That's where you meet your next.
Or if a writer has a bar set up in their room,
yes,
that bar, that can. Okay, so what at the weekend ends? It's Sunday morning. How do you personally grade the conference in your mind? What are the marks that say to you this was a successful conference?
Well, number one, we didn't have to go bail anybody out from jail.
Okay.
Believe it or not at OWFI, but at another convention that I was at, that actually happened. We had to go bail the keynote speaker out of jail. So if that doesn't happen, I feel like we've done a good job. Basically, if everything went off smoothly, we didn't have any major disasters, something is always going to go wrong. And if something can go wrong and nobody notices except the staff, then we've done a good job. If all of our speakers show up, that's pretty much a good conference. If we don't have anybody, we always get complaints that I'm sorry, any organization that carries on any sort of event like this is going to get complaints. But if we don't get a lot of terrible complaints, then we've done a good job. And I think for the most part, for OWFI, we haven't had any real terrible, horrible disasters.
Right.
And things have gone reasonably smoothly. And I should knock on wood before I say that, because this will be the year. But,
so with the time we have left, it looks like we got about a little less than 10 minutes. Instead of VCK, president of OWFI, let's talk about VCK, the writer. What are you working on now? And I know it's probably multiple things, but go ahead. Let us know.
Well, first of all, it's pronounced Vic.
It is?
Yeah. It's VCK are the initials, but it's pronounced Vic.
Okay.
And those are my initials. I I go by Vickey Malone Kennedy because I love that Irish. I'm Irish. I've got a long Irish heritage, and I love that Irish name, and that's my maiden name. And so I use that as a writer. But VCK are my initials, and VCK spells Vic.
There you go.
I am currently trying to get any writing done. That is one of the bad things about being a major player in a big organization like this. For the last 4 years, I've been second vice president, first vice president, conference coordinator, president twice. It doesn't leave me a lot of time for writing, unfortunately. Yeah. But I am currently working on a mafia romance. I have a friend, Sarah Bell, who writes mafia romance. And I started reading her romances, and it just kicked off the wheels. And I came up with this really great mafia romance idea. And I'm not too far along in it yet, but as soon as OWFI is over this year, maybe I'll be able to push it out pretty quickly. Wow. I primarily write short stories too. I do write longer works. I do write full-length books, but I primarily write short stories. And I say that it's because I'm lazy by nature, and I can write a short story in a short amount of time, and I can finish it. And so that's why I write short stories, and I write a lot of those. And I was trying to think. I just won an award recently, but I can't remember what it was for. That is so terrible, isn't it?
Well, congratulations, nevertheless.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was for a short story, but so for the life of me, I can't remember what it was.
Now, do you do anthologies of your short stories, or?
I have been in several anthologies. Mm-hmm. They're not my anthologies. I've had short stories in anthologies. I've written short stories for Yard Dog Press that have been in the Yard Dog Press anthologies.
Okay.
And, a couple of other anthologies. But no, I don't put together an anthology of my short stories. I don't even know if I should say this because I don't write this under my name. I'm also, I have a series called Vickey's Quickies.
And what are those about?
Those are about what you think they're about. Absolutely.
Okay. I think whoever listens to this podcast is smart enough to figure that out. We'll give them credit for that. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. Exactly what you think they are. But I don't write those under my name. But now everybody's going to go look for it and find it under my name, except there's not anything available right now under that. And there will be, but not right now.
Well, where do people find your regular novels?
And a lot of my work is, well, if you go to my website, VickeyMaloneKennedy.com, it lists anything and everything that's currently available. Mm-hmm. I used to write for Alora's Cave. They went under several years ago, and I had several books with them, but they're not available anymore because Alora's Cave went belly up, and we lost a lot of good writers. Well, I'm sure they've gone to other places, but you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And most of the books that I had published through them are no longer available because they disappeared. But everything that I do have that is actually available to the public is listed on my website. I will say this, my website hasn't been updated in 2 years because my server people, it's through Yahoo. Mm-hmm. And they sold out to somebody else who sold out to somebody else, and I can't figure out how to get on there and fix anything. I need a webmaster deluxe to help me get onto my web page to update it. So if anybody out there is a webmaster,
I'm out. I'm out. So give us a reminder. When is the OWFI conference this year?
May the 1st through the 3rd. On Thursday night, we have the master class, and then we have sessions all day on Friday and Saturday. We have the keynote speaker, which is Jim Butcher. Jim Butcher is also doing the master class. That's on Friday night. The banquet starts at 7. He'll start speaking somewhere around 8ish. And then on Saturday night, we have the awards banquet for our annual writers contest.
Mm-hmm.
And there will be a lot of people there getting prizes and being extremely happy. And so that should be a good night. And on Thursday, the registration will open at 5:00, so you can pre-register and you don't have to stand in line on Friday to get in. The master class will be from 5:30 to 8. And the bookstore will be open to put your books in from, I think it's from 1 to 6 or 1 to 7, something like that on Thursday.
And of course, people can go to owfi.org to find all this wonderful information. Still sign up, still register, because you'll see Vic there. You'll see Tikiman the Viking there. And of course, Jim Butcher, but, whatever.
Yeah, who's all showing up for Jim.
You do not have to be registered for the conference. You do not have to be a member of the conference, of the organization, to register for the master class. The master class is open to the public. Anybody can sign up for the master class. You don't have to go to anything else at the conference to go to the master class. And I believe the master class is $60.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I signed up. I'm looking forward to it.
This is good. We really appreciate talking to you. We will see you and hug you and all that stuff at the conference because we look forward to being there again. And we've started ending our podcast with one word or one expression: read a book.
I love it.
So everybody should read a book. Vic, thank you so much. We look forward to seeing you in May. Thank you on behalf of Tikiman and the Viking.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Tikiman and the Viking podcast brought to you by Rumination of Thunder Media. The following intro and outro music was used for this media project. The music Find Them by Alexander Nakrata. Free download from filmmusic.io. License Creative Commons Attribution 4.0 International.